This is Top 3 Tuesday. I am EdT1138, and I would like to say thank you for joining me this week, and thank you to those of you who participated last week. The folks that left video responses were Kit171, Woodland37, Owlmew 2011, Lawn Boys Post 1975, Sega and More, Gaming with Stedoak, Wilgram13, Tygon V. Liger, Mark Vahir, and Marlon Lee. Thank you, all of you, for leaving video responses. I'm sure that Electric Adventures says thank you as well. Matter of fact, he'll probably say it somewhere in the comments down below. We'll just get right into this week's question, and it is coming to you from Danny4842, and here he is.
What's up, gamers? This is Danny4842 here today. I want to show you guys my top 3 favorite video game cover art, and I want to start with number 3 is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles 4, and it's Turtles in Time. It's a really cool art that when I thought was a kid, especially to this day still. It has a lot of things going on with it. It has a steam locomotive, a Statue of Liberty, a pirate ship, spaceship. You name it, it's all there. I mean, it's just so much in this one cover, and it blew me away as a kid, and it's up to this day, I still love it. So that's number 3. So now on, move to number 2 is the Ninja Gaiden 3, Ancient Ship of Doom cover. What is cool about it is Ryu Hayabusa is standing in the river without any magic, no platform or anything, in the background of New York City. Now, I'm from New York, so I get a kick out of this. Is really, look at him. He's just looking badass on this cover. So yeah, that's number 2. And my number 1 is Soul Calibur 2 for the GameCube. Now, the reason why is, look at it. It's Link on the cover. Most games that you see Link is on his game in the game himself, and it's like The Legend of Zelda. Of course, you expect Link to be on it, but to have Link in another game besides Zelda is really badass. I mean, look at him. He's there, like making his own game, and it's not even his. So that's my number 1. And then again, that's my top 3 favorite video game cover art. Back to you, Ed.
Thanks for the throwback, Danny. I appreciate that. Danny and I have actually been subscribed to one another for quite some time. He subscribed to me first. He found me through the Asian Guy Gamer, or the 8-Bit Theater, if you prefer. And yeah, I subscribed to him. His channel is very nostalgic. That was actually the first word that came to mind when I watched one of his videos. Subscribe to him immediately just because, I don't know, there's just something about the way he reminisces about his games that really sort of draws you in. So, to answer your question, Danny, what is my favorite video game art? This one actually wasn't all that difficult for me. And I'll give you a quick bit of backstory. Most of you guys know that my dad died when I was young, and my oldest sister, who is 13 years older than me, 12 years older than me, married when I was very young as well, and she married to one of the best people in the world. He was pretty much my father figure from the time my dad died until, well, today. I still consider him a father figure. And he was very artistic. In particular, he was into science fiction and fantasy art, was a fantastic airbrush artist. He has given it up since then, but it sort of caught my attention, and it really got me into fantasy and science fiction art, particularly Frank Frazetta, which was his favorite artist and eventually became my favorite artist. There were a number of other fantasy and sci-fi artists that I really enjoyed, and the one that I'm going to pick for this is a guy who did a lot of video game art, specifically art for Sega Genesis games, although he did do one NES game that I know of, and that is Boris Vallejo. He was born in Peru and emigrated to the United States in the 60s, I think, and he did lots and lots of fantasy and science fiction art. Now, as far as video game art that I know of that he did, for the NES, he did the art for Swords and the Serpents. For the Genesis, he did Echo the Dolphin, Echo Tides of Time, a game called Hardball, a Mike Ditka football game, I don't know what that is, Turrican, Phantasy Star 4, Wings of War, which would be a runner-up of mine. And actually, I have it hanging out up there somewhere. Long Boys Plus 1975 will know what I'm talking about. He actually agreed that it is one of the few examples where the North American Genesis art was better than what they had in Europe and Japan. There aren't too many examples of that. In any case, my top three, I sort of rambled on a bit there, I apologize. My top three from Boris Vallejo, all Genesis titles, would be number 3, Star Control. It is just this creepy looking hand holding, I don't know, a glowing orb of some kind, and on the ends of the fingers of each on the ends of each of the fingers on the hand, you have fingernails that are split to look like a forked tongue or fangs or something like that. Not a fantastic game necessarily, but fantastic artwork. Really enjoyed that. Number 2 would be a game that I've actually never played before, but the artwork makes me want to play it. It's called Onslaught. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's 2 or 3 adventures. I don't know. I'll have the picture in here somewhere. Like I said, I don't have the game, so I'm not exactly sure what the artwork looks like off the top of my head. But it was 2 or 3 adventurers, and they're standing with this red background fighting these giant evil bad guys with battle axes, and you see one of them looming in front of them and then 2 more in the background, and it just seems like it would be a fantastic game based on the artwork. And number 1 is one that a lot of you will be familiar with. It's Golden Axe 2. I don't know why. The cover of that game made me want to play the game, and I don't think Golden Axe 2 is as good as the first one, but the cover art on it was much better, and it would be my number 1 favorite video game cover art because it is a very good example of Boris Vallejo's fantasy art. It has, his style. And like I said, Frank Frazetta would probably be my favorite fantasy sci-fi artist. Boris Vallejo really probably isn't even my second or third, but he's the only one that did video game cover art. So, there you go. Those are my top 3. Hopefully I didn't screw this up and I won't have to edit it too much. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you Danny4842 for providing this week's question. Have a good week.